Hi everyone, I'm Larry Trexler, and today we're going to talk about our 2K sprayable attachment and how we can use that to spray some of our 2K products. Now, when we talk about spraying it, we have people in here from SEM school and we're going through and I'm showing them our cartridge demo. And then I happen to mention that the fact that we can spray our products, it kind of takes them back a little bit, because one of the things that they're looking at is this is a 2-part cartridge. How in the world are we going to spray that? Well, that's what the 2K sprayable attachment is for. And what we use this for, obviously a couple of different products that we can spray out of it, but we use it to match some of the sprayable coatings that you see here on a Honda Civic or a Honda Accord, or even just to spray seams on a vehicle. Now, with that, we have the ability to not only just spray one particular product, but we can spray a host of products in our cartridge line. The one that first comes to mind is our Sound Seal Sprayable Coating, and that is what we use to match those Honda rockers that we're talking about and the Toyota SUV rear fender well areas. So it's a spongy product when it's cured, and that's what it was designed to duplicate. We also can spray our medium bodied seam sealer, and we have a gray and a beige. Obviously we have the beige here today that we're going to show. And we can also spray our heavy bodied seam sealers. One of the things that's a little bit of a surprise though is that we actually can spray our flexible urethane foam as well. Now there are a few little tricks that you have to be able to use to be able to do that, but I'm going to be glad to show you those as we go through this demonstration. Now, as far as the sprayable attachment, what do you have to have? Well, first you need to have our Universal Pneumatic Applicator. So this product does use air, it is a sprayable product, so you have to have this. And then the next part of it is you're going to need to have the sprayable attachment itself. And this is our starting kit. And when you have purchased the starter kit, which is a 70100, the Quick Save Spray System starter kit comes with everything that you need to get started. First, it comes with the air manifold that attaches to the bottom of the applicator. And the first thing that we usually do when we get here is that we actually take them and we put the quick couplers on them. So if you need to use them, you just snap them onto the applicator. If you don't, you just unsnap them. That keeps you from having to wind this thing on and off every time you want to use it. So it just makes life a little bit easier. The next thing that you get are 6 of the sprayable attachment static mixers, and these are special static mixers that you have to use to spray it. This is the only time that out of everything that we have in our cartridge line, this is the only time that you're going to need a special static mixer, is for that sprayable attachment. And you also get one of the nuts to attach it to the cartridge, and this air manifold that has 2 different air caps. And these 2 different air caps give you 2 different types of texture. So I'm going to show you both of those and what they do today. So that is the Quick Spray System starter kit. The first thing that we're going to do is obviously attach that starter kit to the bottom of the applicator. Simple enough, right? And then we need to put together the static mixer. Now, in order to be able to do this, the first thing that you do is take one of the nuts and slide down onto the mixer. The next part is figuring out which one of these air caps we're going to be using. And then for this particular case, I'm going to show you first the medium bodied beige, and I'm going to use the cap that just has one single hole in it. Now with that, you can see on the back here there's 2 little notches, and they correspond to the 2 little ears that are at the end of the static mixer. So basically, push it in there, and then once it's already all the way in, give it a little twist, and now it's locked into place, and this is ready to go. So that is how you put together the static mixer for the Quick Spray System. I'm going to go ahead and put together a couple of these with the other air caps so you get a chance to see what they do and how they work. Okay? So with that, we're going to go in and we're going to do a couple of quick little demos. I'm going to show you the different types of spray patterns you can get out of this. It's very simple to use. So let's go over and we'll get that done now. So we're gonna go over and we're gonna spray with a couple of these attachments. Now, we're gonna start off with the medium bodied seam sealer. This is our beige, and we're gonna use the attachment that has just a single hole in the center of it. So one of the things that you'll notice about these static mixers is on one side of this, there is a little bit of a notch, and that at least helps you to be able to line up where you wanna put this on the cartridge. You always want that notch to point towards to the label side of the cartridge. So you can see here it's lined up at the top, and then you screw that nut down into place and you slide it in here. Now, the next part, you've got this long air hose. We want to make sure that we give you plenty, but you don't need it all just hanging down here off to the side. So what a lot of times I'll do, you can wrap it around here once or twice. I usually just wrap it once, and then there's a little thumb set right there that you can either press this and put it on. A lot of times once you get it going, it just goes into place. But the reason that that was so important to get that indexed properly is that now this air tube is pointing down, so it's kind of out of your way. The next part of this is that you have a couple of different adjustments. One, you've got a slide knob that turns the air on and off out here to the end of the applicator. The other thing that you have is a set screw, and that set screw controls the air pressure. So we're gonna hook this up. And the first thing we wanna do before we turn the air on is we wanna put a little bit of product into the static mixer. And the reason we wanna do that is because there is a slight chance that if you turn the air on, yes, it can put pressure back onto the cartridge and can back it back down and put an air bubble in the cartridge. It's rare, but it could happen. So first thing we want to do is we just want to make sure we've got product in the static mixer. Now we can turn the air on and off. You can already see we've got air out here at the end. Now with that adjustment, I can control how much air is coming out of there. This isn't like a spray gun. I'm not trying to atomize it. So when you're trying to adjust this, and we're working with about 120 pounds of air right now off the bat. First of all, I always keep the back of the fluid knob on the gun wide open. As far as this is concerned, come on over and I'll show you how we're gonna adjust it. So a lot of times when I'm spraying with this, I always try to keep my hand on this knob so you can adjust it. Now, if you go too low on the air, it's actually gonna lay a bead out. You're gonna lose all manner of how you're gonna try to apply it. So what you wanna do is crank the air up a little bit. And the more you crank it, the more you can kind of get in here and you can spray these patterns. If you go too far with the air pressure, you see it start to get where it fits it instead of spraying it. So now you know you've got too much air. So basically, just kind of back it down into the middle, find yourself a nice happy medium point, and you can spray sound dampening pads. The beautiful part about this is a 2K product. So we don't have to put it down in coats. You can put it on as thick as you want. It doesn't matter. It's still gonna cure fast all the way through. Now, all I'm gonna do from spraying a sound dampening pad is I'm just gonna move in closer, and now I can spray things back and forth. And as you can see, very, very little overspray that comes out of the end of this applicator. Now the other thing is that even though my finger is off the trigger, because there's pressure on that static mixer, you're gonna always have a little bit of a spitting point even when you're done. So in other words, don't point this inside the car somewhere, or point it at your friend and say, hey Joe, come over here and spray with this thing. It's the best thing ever, because you're gonna spray seam sealer all over the poor guy. So make sure that you always keep it pointed where you want it to be sprayed, okay? All right, let's move on to the next one. So we're getting ready to change out the tube and put on another air cap to show you what it does. But one of the things that's really cool about this system is the cleanup. And the best part is there's hardly any at all. And the reason is because this is just a regular static mixer. So when you're done and this hardens up, throw it away and you're in good shape. The nut unless you were really messy with it, should never get anything on it. So you keep that nut and you're in good shape. The baffle out here at the end never touches seam sealer, and the reason is because the static mixer comes all the way out to the outside edge of that air cap. So that means that the only part that you have to clean is out here on the end of the air cap. If it's like this one, don't even clean it. Let this thing set up, which only takes about 10 minutes. Flick that off with your finger after it's hardened, and you've essentially just cleaned the applicator. So very, very easy to maintain. So we're going to switch gears now, and we're going to use our Sound Seal, and we're going to use the spray attachment that has the 2 air horns on it. And just like a paint gun, it's going to spray a type of a pattern. So I'll show you what that looks like. Once again, line the 2 index that static mixer. Both of these cartridges, by the way, have already been equalized. So we're in good shape there. All right, come on over. We'll show you what it does. Just like the other one, make sure that we push a little bit of product into the static mixer first, then we can turn the air on. And with it, you kind of get that webbed pattern. And the best part about this webbed pattern is if you need to build up a little bit of an edge or a ledge, then what you do is you just turn the gun sideways and you can build up that lip as thick as it needs to be, and then you can come back in and kind of spray it in and feather it back in. And once again, you can spray this as thick or as thin as you need to. And when this product, this is Sound Seal Sprayable Coating, when this one is done, it's going to have that spongy feel, almost like a flexible foam. So last but not least is a little known secret. Usually we just show these when we have SEM schools, just to be able to, when we're playing around back here, what kind of things can and can't we do with the product. And one of those that we found that we can spray, people always ask, well, can you spray your foams? Well, guess what? Yes, you can. Now, if you've seen our other videos where we take our foam, you notice that the flexible urethane foam, it expands almost immediately. Well, when you're putting that through this long static mixer that we're going to spray out of, it can actually begin to foam before it even reaches the end out here. So that means you can't spray it. So you do need to modify it a little bit. So one of the things, and once again, this is just a little trick, but what you can do is you can take a pair of needle nose pliers and then reach inside and grab that static mixer a little bit and pull it out. And what you'll usually do is snap off about 2 inches of that static mixer, push the rest of it back inside, and throw this section away. And what that does is, because we're snapping some of it off, we're actually going to help it to retard that foaming action just long enough for us to get it out of the applicator so that we can spray it. So you can see we've got it in there. You've got that little bit of a gap. As soon as we push product in here, it's going to push that to the end, and then we're going to apply it to our foam. Now, when you spray foam, because it is a foam, and once it starts going, there's no stopping it. You need to be able to stay on the job and spray it. So try not to, go ahead and do what you need to do. Get it all sprayed, but don't walk away from it, because you're going to set it up inside the tube, and you're going to need to change out another static mixer. So come on over, and I'm also going to use the round air cap that just has the one single hole in the middle of it. Come on over. The other thing that you'll notice when you're starting to apply this product is the speed that you apply it. So if you're spraying it, and I usually try to feather the trigger a little bit, If you're spraying it right, it should be almost like a charcoal gray kind of color. If you get it in there too quickly, it's gonna actually turn and it's gonna be almost like a slick gloss. So like I said, sometimes you can help to control that a little bit. So with this, I'm gonna go ahead and put product in, and then I'm gonna do this pretty rapidly. So once again, this is a 2K product, so I don't have to worry about how thick I'm gonna put it in there, or will it cure? Yes. As a matter of fact, we'll just come in here and we'll spray a really thick section here. And it can go a surprising long way. Once again, it's all relevant to how thick you want to apply it. It. So, can it be done? Absolutely, it can be done. Sometimes it takes a little bit of ingenuity, playing around with it a little bit, but it's very simple to do. We hope you learned something. Hope this helps you out in your day-to-day business. Look forward to talking to you the next time.